This is Amanda from the 36 LD Democrats. We're doing our endorsement interview on the uh, King County Prop 1 Parks Renewal Level here with Rubai Aurora. Over to you for an intro on this levy.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on a Saturday morning. Um, so my name is Rubai Aurora. I am government and community partnerships at Woodland Park Zoo. And a big part of my job is kind of working with the amazing team at King County Parks to administer and help support how they work with us through the King County Parks levy. And so what I'm kind of here to do today is ask for an endorsement so that we have this parks levy coming up. The vote will be August 5th for Prop 1, and we're hoping that you all can endorse it and show your support. So essentially, the King County Parks levy is an essential part of the King County Park system. It provides funding for a variety of spaces, including organizations that work in the parks and recreation space, like Woodland Park Zoo and Seattle Aquarium and Pacific Science Center. But of course, a lot of it goes to keeping the actual parks and trails and all that maintained and open and supported. There's a lot more pieces to it, which we can talk about in detail later, but essentially, it's a levy that all property tax levy that folks will pay towards keeping parks open, clean, safe, and support organizations like us. Um, it's renewed every 6 years, and of course, it's more than maintenance. It's public health, it's climate resilience, it's providing safe and open green spaces for our communities. Um, what else I wanted to kind of go over. That's my intro. If we want to go into questions, I'm happy to kind of go over the details because there's a lot of little details that I can go over.
Yeah, absolutely. I can go ahead and pause that. We can capture that time later if there's anything we don't cover. So,
Sure, sure.
um, are there any folks with specific questions about this? I'll let folks in the room raise their hand. Go ahead, Tyler.
So I think the piece that always comes up when we have discussions around levies is kind of uh, one, we can go in and more of our follow-up questions here about some of the benefits and what that looks like. But folks are often very interested to hear and understand what the impact will be for them as homeowners in the 36th and kind of what the cost and more of that granular budget piece. And if you could share a little bit more of that for folks to understand, has this levy changed over time? What has it achieved? Any of those pieces?
Mhm.
Those are the kinds of questions that our membership really like to understand. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. So, as far as how much it'll cost, it's valued at around 1638 per month, which is the new levy would increase the current by about $2.50. So depends on the value of your home, of course, but that's based on a homeowner value of 844,000. So it's not a huge jump. You probably won't notice it, but overall, adding around or like it's going to add a couple $2 to $3 more on your current property tax levy. And so let's see, you wanted to talk about a little bit about the impacts as well. So I'll talk a little bit about, what you see in the 36th, of course, is your support to Woodland Park Zoo is a big part of it. And what, the King County Park System does for the zoo itself is most of our funding goes towards all our educational programs that we provide. So we do any school within the King County that is qualifies under a 30% or more reduced price meals program. Any field trip that they come in, regardless of the number of students, is completely covered. So all King County school, just any schools, it does not have to be public part of the public school system, but any school in the district in the county can come to the zoo for free, and that the levy directly supports us being able to do that. That also covers some of their transportation fees. So if they would like a bus reimbursement, we do that through the levy supported for that as well. All of our public educational programming on grounds, and even some of our conservation efforts, including carnivores, working with carnivores, working with urban carnivores, sorry, and amphibian monitoring. So we have these amazing programs out in the field, out in King County parks, where we track and monitor local carnivores, and we track and monitor local amphibians. And that's, again, like I said, out in the field, out of zoo grounds, but in the county. All that is also supported by the county levy as well. And so you just kind of all a lot of our conservation work around the county, and then all our educational programming on grounds, online, wherever you might see us talking about conservation education, wildlife protection. All of that is a huge chunk of what the levy goes towards supporting. And then, of course, our access programs, so increasing our accessibility to the zoo, both physical and transportation wise, and then also and then we use it for horticulture, maintenance, all that work as well. We're a 92-acre property, and so we have a lot of space, and we are very proud to be this beautiful urban forest in our own right. And we it takes a lot to maintain that. So the levy goes to support that. So when you come to the zoo, you feel like you're immersed. We have the tools that are not only managing and caring for our animals, but we're creating this beautiful urban green space for folks to visit as well. And then another chunk of it also goes to maintaining caring for the most important part of our zoo, the animals, of course. And it goes towards those species that are most threatened. So that's a wide range of species, but it goes from everything to the people that care for them, to the again, maintenance of their space, and providing the right kind of nutrition, and everything that we can kind of like encompass within that. So when you see your $1.36, you look at the zoo and see how amazing we are, and that's kind of the direct support you're going to see through the levy.
Awesome, thank you. I'll let it open for any other questions, and if there's I have one. I kind of would love to know what you like. That was a great description of all the stuff, surprising stuff, that we might not also be aware of that the zoo does. But I would just ask you, like, personally, what do you find the most exciting about what the parks does, or surprising that people might not know, or like what makes you like that spark of joy that you're like, oh, I'm so glad I do this work.
So outside the zoo, this levy is the reason it supports all those beautiful trails that we use, and all those beautiful parks, the big open green spaces, the so much of the not only urban but county forests that we have, and just keeping those spaces clean, open, safe, usable for folks when they want to recreate in those spaces. And I mean, that's the kind of amazing thing, is that it's parts we don't even see maybe every day. And the maintenance, it sounds doesn't sound, sexy to say, oh, it goes towards maintenance. But if we don't maintain those spaces and we don't make them, accessible, that's such an important part of what the levy goes to. So I think that's really important. And one of the coolest things I think that the King County Parks has been doing recently, and we've partnered with them on this quite a bit, is their King County Youth Conservation Corps. They have rebuilt that. I think they were able to maintain it through the COVID years, which is very impressive, because those kinds of programs really suffered during COVID years, especially for us as well. But they were able to maintain it and keep it growing. And it's an amazing program where they have youth that are actually get paid internships, which is a huge deal. And they give them, I don't have all the details of the program off the top of my head, but it's really an amazing program to look into. And again, it's making future conservation leaders right here in our county. And we love the program so much that we host them every year to come and learn more, whatever they can do from the zoo, and learn from our expert horticulturists to our animal care managers to whomever they, are interested in learning from. But that's kind of one of my favorite parts of the levy is the Youth Conservation Corps, which I think is really amazing. So I want to help them make that grow and grow.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah. Any other questions from folks? Otherwise we can, if there's anything that you didn't get a chance to cover or you'd like to close with, I'll let you go with that. Otherwise we'll go ahead and conclude.
I
So,
think Richard had a question for us.
oh,
that I
did he? Oh yeah, he
cut off
did.
in the
Great.
introduction. So maybe Richard, we could pick up your question.
Hi, I'm Richard Frith. I was handled real estate for the parks for 22 years. I was, if you're a Republican, I was squandering taxpayer dollars buying swamplands and unbuildable hillsides. If you're a Democrat, I was buying open space and greenbelt. But I started back in 1990 with the open space initials. A lot of what we were buying were small pieces of pocket parks for neighborhoods because there were a lot of parks that were promised when the land was plotted and subdivided, and a lot of them never really appeared. So what we did there was helpful. What is happening with the maintenance of the properties? How much of it? We had one city council member that thought we should just house all the homeless in the park, give away the billions of dollars of land that the taxpayers paid for. How are we? How can it? What does this levy do to continue to protect those properties that are owned by the citizens?
That's a really good question. And I feel like I'm not equipped to answer that on a much broader level, but I think we talked a little bit, you had asked about the zoo, beyond the zoo property, the properties that we own. And we don't technically own it. The city of Seattle does. So our property we're a nonprofit organization. We, the people and the animals and the plants, and that's who we own per se, but the actual property and the buildings, it's owned by the city of Seattle. So we work in partnership. We have an operations and management agreement with them that's over 20 years and has been renewed. It was renewed in 22. And so that's kind of we're basically in an agreement on how to maintain and manage the park space. So we not only manage the grounds that are considered, within the zoo, but also the parks around. So if the Rose Garden, there's I don't know the exact name of the park, but it's basically a neighborhood park right next to right around the zoo. So we maintain and operate those spaces as well. And then we also, we have that property out in Enumclaw that you mentioned, and but that is again still owned by the city of Seattle. So it's kind of a partnership in maintenance and care. And I'm sorry, I can't really speak to the other spaces, but that's how that's what our partnership with the land and buildings looks like. And I can go into more detail if you'd like, but
that helps me remember the divisions of the responsibility there, and I appreciate that. That's very helpful there.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I know it's very in the weeds, unintended, I guess.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate
yeah,
that.
of course, of course.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm just looking to see if there's any further questions. And I don't know if Rubai, would you like any time to wrap up? I know you've had a lot and you've really given us a lot of information. I really appreciate it. But is there anything we didn't ask you or we didn't cover?
No, I mean, I think, just overall, I wanted to mention again, obviously this levy has such a huge, huge impact. And it's a small individual personal investment. I'm really excited to vote for it. And honestly, and I'll, being completely candid in this national, international political climate, everything feels like it's really difficult, and it's you know, you almost feel kind of paralyzed. You don't have a lot of action and space, and there's new horrible things going on every day, every hour. And I feel like, just on a personal level, that this levy makes me very excited to support and endorse because, and vote for, because I feel like I can actually take a really small action right in my space, in my neighborhood, in my county, and it actually has a huge impact. And it's such a powerful message because it's a vote yes message, right? It's not even we're fighting against something right now. We're just making something, we're supporting something, and we're voting yes, and it feels like a really great positive impact. And you see it in your zoo in the district, and you see it all over the county. It's something that we all use regularly every day, and yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of bring back. But yeah, small investment and really big impact, I think.
Awesome. Thank you so
Of
much. Yeah, great
course.
opportunity to touch real grass, hug some trees, and talk to
Yeah,
some animals. So always
exactly.
good for all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. This concludes
Thank
the recorded part of our interview, so I'll go
Great.
ahead and stop.
Thank you.